Hi everybody, I'm Spike Brave, and I'm here today to give you a look at the ballistic weapons that are available to Clan BattleMechs in Mechwarrior Online. As you can see, I'm out in the testing ground again, and I'm by my little buddy, the Commando I like to pick on. And first of all, I'd like to start out this video by talking about the targeting reticules in the center of my screen. So there's an ellipse, or a circle, or rectangle maybe in the center there, and if I move my arms up, you can see that moves up, and now it's pointing towards the timer there. And I can move it all the way down. And in some cases, you can move side to side. In this case, I can't, and I'll explain that to you. So what that circle is, or ellipse, is where my arm-mounted weapons are pointed. As you can see, I can move that away from the X in the center, and the X is where my torso weapons are pointed. So keep that in mind as you're aiming stuff. You can move your arms and torso separately. And in some cases, you can move your arm side to side. I can in this case, and how that works is that mechs have an upper arm actuator, and that's what lets your arms go up and down. Every mech has to have those, so your arms can always go up and down. If you can't go side to side, what that means is your mech has no lower arm actuators. Lower arm actuators let you move it from side to side. If you have one lower arm actuator, you'll get a little bit of movement. If you have two, you'll be able to go all the way side to side. With Clan Mechs, how that works is there's a little checkbox that says equip lower arm actuator, and there's also one for hand actuator in some instances. Sometimes those aren't there. That's the case with this particular dire wolf I'm using, is that I can never choose to have lower arm actuators in the arms I have equipped on this mech. And then the other special case rule for Clan Mechs here is you can equip and unequip them if you'd like, with the following exceptions. If you have a autocannon, PPC, or Gauss rifle equipped in the arm, that arm cannot take lower arm or hand actuators. So that's how you use your reticles to aim, and some of the restrictions that Clan Mechs have on their arm actuators. If you've seen my other videos I've been doing with these weapon tests, I do go through that quite a bit, so I just want to talk about it again here if this is the only one you've seen. So as you can see, I'm kind of moving my arms a little bit to get some divergence there, but that is how that works. And if you look over in the right hand bottom corner of my screen, that's where all my weapons are listed. The weapons with the circle are the ones that are on arms. So my AC-10 and my AC-20 are on my arms, and then on my torso, indicated by that plus that's kind of broken off by a space, I have a machine gun, an AC-2, and an AC-5. So that's how the targeting reticules work, in combination with how you can tell where they're located in your mech by using those weapon indicators there on the right hand side. Let's talk about that a little bit more. As you can see, it lists out the weapon name, and then there's a number. That's the range in meters. That's the effective range for your ballistic weapons. What will happen is, you can see my machine gun is yellow. I've got my targeting reticule aimed at something that's 215 meters out. How the ballistic weapons work is that they will do damage up to double their listed range, but it drops off the farther you go. So keep that in mind. I could be shooting my machine guns right now, but they'd be doing less damage to a target that was that far away. And then once you get way too far away, they'll turn black. As you can see, I moved my targeting reticule a little bit. Now I'm out at 681 meters, and that's well beyond 240 meters, which would be double for that machine gun, and now the machine gun's black. But you can see the AC-10 and the AC-20 are now yellow, so beyond their effective ranges. So keep that in mind. That's a little look at how the ballistics work, and that's how the ballistics work in every case as far as their range goes. Now, right next to the range indicator, there's a little bar, and that bar will turn orange when I shoot. That indicates the amount of time that it'll fill up with an orange bar. That orange bar will come down, and once that orange bar is gone, I can fire the weapon again. That'll be important once we get into the ultra autocannons, because they can fire while that reload bar is going on. These are standard autocannons, they cannot. Something else you may notice is that the ammo counts are a little bit higher than inner sphere mechs. A lot of people are concerned that clan mechs have more ammo. They do not. What it is every clan autocannon fires at least 2 shells. So every time you pull the trigger, that counter will go down by the appropriate number of shells. And what they've done is done the math so that you're showing how many shells you have left, not how many pulls of the trigger. The pulls of the trigger work out the exact same for the inner sphere weapons. So clan mechs don't get more ammo per ton. That is a concern for some players, but that's not how it works. And then the final thing that may be some confusing to players who are more familiar with the tabletop game and autocannons there is that clans have standard autocannons. That's what I have equipped on this particular dire wolf. The reason they've added those is they haven't figured out the best way to implement ammo switching in LBX weapons. LBX can fire either a solid shot or a slug. I don't think they planned ahead when they were adding the regular LB10X, so each weapon has its own ammo bin. So until they get it to where they got the weapon switching, what you can do is equip a clan autocannon in your mech to get solid shots, or an LBX autocannon to get the shotgun or flechette rounds. They've said they're working on that. They're going to remove that from the game at some point once they have that switching in place. I don't know when that's going to be. So if you're viewing this sometime in the future and they're no longer clan autocannons, that would be the reason why. And I would plan to redo this video at that point. But if you're viewing this at some point in the future, which you haven't gotten to the video yet or not, and there's no more clan autocannons, that's why. So what we're going to do is we're going to start picking on this commando. And what you'll see that's different than the inner sphere autocannons is that I will always get more than one shell when I shoot. And how that works is that clan autocannon 2 will shoot 2, the AC5 will shoot 3, the AC10 will shoot 4 shells, and the AC20 will shoot 5. The damage for that autocannon is spread out between those shells. So in the case of an AC2, I shoot 2 shells that do 1 point of damage each, and then all the way up to the AC20, I shoot 5 shells that do 4 damage each. So that's how that's all spread out. So we'll shoot those and we'll show you how they work here. So it's nothing real special about how the autocannons work. So we're going to aim at his arm, shoot our AC2, and we'll get 2 shells out. It should hit him. There we go. I guess it was over a little bit, got him in the side torso. So now we've got the AC20 selected, so I'll get 5 shells when I press the trigger once. And then watch my ammo counter, it should go down to 30. So I'm not getting any extra ammo in this, I'm just shooting that many shells at once. So that was the AC20. Let's go to the AC10 now, and we'll see 4 shells. And that's stripped off the side torso. And then finally the AC5, and that'll give us 3 shells for a total of 5 damage. And then finally what I've got equipped on this particular mech is the machine gun, and that's, again, just a direct fire weapon that shoots shells. And what you'll notice about it is it's a cone. I'm going to get him lined up along the hem of his center torso and surviving torso, and what you'll see is the bullets will kind of jump around a little bit because it's firing a cone. See how I'm hitting both torsos down? So keep that in mind when you're shooting these. These aren't quite direct fire. There's a little bit of a cone there. As you can see, both those torso sections are flashing. A lot of people are concerned about the amount of shells that these put out being really overpowered compared to the inner sphere single shot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start wailing on this cicada here, and you'll see it'll take me actually quite a bit of time to kill him, and I'll spread a lot of damage because I'm going to keep moving to try to simulate and kind of just jerking around just a little bit to simulate that he's moving and I'm moving, and you'll see how much damage I get everywhere, and it's actually not as effective for killing as that single shot the inner sphere gets. So here we go. Now, as you can see, I was, missing a bit on purpose to simulate that he's moving and I'm moving, and I was spreading it out quite a bit. But it is hard once you're moving and fighting to keep all that in one spot, and it took me quite a bit of time to kill him compared to just using the direct fire weapons that are available in the inner sphere mechs. So keep that in mind, that it's really easy to spray a lot of damage that that won't be used on actively killing the mech. As you can see, when he went down, I'd opened up both his torsos and nearly blown his leg off. So if you're facing a clan mech, or if you're in a clan mech, keep that in mind. There is quite a bit of spread, and you can see I really actually used up quite a bit of my ammo killing him. Now, that being said, They are extremely fun though, because that's all kinds of fun to. We'll go after this catapult next. If we just start flinging a bunch of lead at him, this is really fun. I'm just not being horribly effective at killing him. But they are fun, and this is very distracting and unnerving. If this was an actual player, he'd have all kinds of time to do something about me. But he may be freaking out a little bit about the amount of fire he's taking. It does seem like an awful lot. And it is. You're getting a lot of shells in, but they're not doing more damage. They're just doing it over time and spreading locations. And as you can see, actually, I've run out of auto cannon 20 ammunition. So let's just spin a look at how these work, and keep in mind that spread is pretty bad, especially if you got a light who's very close to you and he's dodging a lot. You can actually get most of the shells on the ground and not on your mech. So let's spin a look at the machine gun and the standard clan autocannons. Let's hop out here and we'll get in another dire wolf that's got some different ballistic weapons in it. And if you haven't seen this feature before, this is called the testing grounds. I really recommend that you use it. I'm going to come out here to the mech lab, and I'm going to pick this direwolf. He's got the LBX series of autocannons, which are shotguns, and then he's also got a Gauss rifle, and I want to talk about that a little bit. But I've selected him, so if you want to use the testing grounds, come out here to the home tab and then click on testing grounds. You can select any map you'd like, and of course you can also go random, and it would go to a random map. I like to use Forest Colony for demonstrations like this, or when I'm testing out my weapons loadout, because I get that commando right in front of me and I don't have to go anywhere. If you're looking for heat testing, go out to Terra Therma. That's the hottest map in the game, and fire your weapons on that and see how you're doing for heat. But I really recommend using this feature to test out your mech. So this mech, as I said, has the LBX series of autocannons. And what you'll notice that's different in this mech is my ammo counts now look like inner sphere ammo counts, because these shoot one shell at a time, but those shells are full of pellets. So an LB2 will fire 2 pellets, and so on and so forth till we get up to the LB20 that fires 20 pellets. I do like these a little bit better than the standard autocannons, because rather than getting a bunch of shells that go everywhere, I get one stream of pellets that kind of go to one spot. You'll get some spread, and we'll see that here. And let's start looking at how those work. So we'll get the LB2X selected, then I'll hit my backspace key and put it on chain fire. And we're up to the LB5. Really like the LB2 to start. Alrighty, so we're on the 10. We'll start out with that. So you'll actually see a lot of performance that's similar to the LB10X that the inner sphere has, and I'll try to hit him in the arm, but I will get some spread when I do that. So as you can see, a couple pellets actually went past his left side, my right side, and then most of them hit the arm, a couple hit the side torso there. And then the LB20, I'm going to move over a little bit, and what this is going to do is probably destroy his entire side. Nope, stripped the armor off the left side of him pretty good. So keep that in mind when you're firing these LB10Xs. There is that spread effect. And then here's the 2, and I'll just get 2 little pellets. Those are a little bit more manageable to keep on target. And then the 5, and that'll give me 5 pellets. Again, I like these a little bit better for clan weapons, because everything's going to go to a tighter grouping, at least, if not one spot. You'll get some spread, but it's a little bit easier to aim them, and you don't have shells coming out forever when you're trying to shoot. So I do like those a little bit more. So the next weapon I want to talk about here is the Gauss rifle. This works a lot like the inner sphere Gauss rifle, but if you haven't seen that test, I'm going to talk about it a little bit. As you can see, I've got that on weapon group 2. If you look around my targeting reticule, there are 6 rectangles. Each of those is tied to a weapon group, and after you shoot a weapon, so I will shoot my LB10 because that's what's next, you'll see that rectangle turn red. And that indicates that the weapon is reloading, just like your bar on the bottom right hand side. And that's one of the ways you keep track of this Gauss rifle. The Gauss rifle has a charging mechanic, and I'm going to go through that very carefully because it's kind of confusing and can be hard for new players to master. So what'll happen is if I hold down my second mouse button, which is where my Gauss rifle is equipped, you'll see that the rectangle around my reticule and my reload bar will start to turn yellow, and then once they're full it'll turn green for a brief amount of time, and that's when I can actually fire the rifle. And then after that the gauges go down to nothing, and I'd have to start charging again because it means I've overcharged the weapon and lost my charge. So I'll go through that and I'll just lose the charge on this. So watch those places and you'll see that yellow bar, and that yellow is kind of a lighter green than the green that indicates you can fire, so it can be a little confusing. And the other thing you want to listen for is a sound. You'll hear a charging sound, and that sound will change slightly when it's ready to fire, and then the sound goes away if I've overcharged. So I'm going to do that right now so you can hear that. And if I want to start charging, I have to let go of the button and then charge again, and I'll charge again so you can see that again. And I'll be quiet so you make sure you can hear the different sounds. So as you can see, it went from yellow to green and then went away when I overcharged. Now, if it's green and I let go of the button, it'll shoot, and I'm going to shoot him in the leg to show you how that works. And then, of course, the weapon has to reload after it fires. So if you overcharge and it goes away, you can fire, or you can start charging again right away. If you miss or you fire, you have to wait for the reload time. So let's look at that. Okay, so now I'm reloading. I'm not able to charge it yet. Reload's over. Now I can start charging again. So that's how the Clan Gauss rifle works. It works just like the Inner Sphere Gauss rifle. And something I didn't mention in that particular tutorial for the Inner Sphere Gauss rifle, because I think putting 3 Gauss rifles on an Inner Sphere mech is a bit much, and you can't do a whole lot of anything else with it, including putting much ammo in it if you put 3 Gauss rifles on it. Now this Dire Wolf can definitely handle 3 or 4 Gauss rifles with enough ammo to actually make it effective. The mechanic is the same if you have multiple Gauss rifles, except, well, the mechanic always stays the same. What happens is if you have more than 2 Gauss rifles equipped, you can only charge 2 at a time. So if I have 4 Gauss rifles on here, I would be having to only charge 2 of them at a time. It wouldn't let me charge more than that. So keep that in mind if you want to build a Dire Wolf with multiple Gauss rifles that you can only charge 2 of them at a time. So you'd have to be charging one set, firing it, then charging the other set after that when the other set is reloading. I think that's awful complicated for things that you can achieve by using a couple Gauss rifles and then a couple LBX or standard autocannons. But that's been a look at these LBX autocannons and the Gauss rifle. And for a good example of that spread, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off my chain fire, and I'm going to get close enough to this catapult out here that I'm in effective range of all of them. As you can see, my LB20 is still yellow. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot right at his center torso. And you'll see how much this spreads once I do that with all these different autocannons. So you can see that was a big cloud of metal. And if we target him, we can see where we did damage to him. And yeah, that was pretty much everything that was looking at me. So, and as you get closer, that will get tighter. So now, I'm keeping it on his torsos, and if I get up in his grill, I bet you I can get it all on his center torso. So that's how those work. And the nice thing about the LBX is that they produce less heat than Ultra or standard autocannons. So keep that in mind, and that's going to look at these different shotgun type weapons, or the LBX series. And for those of you who are curious about that, I'm going to hop out to my last Dire Wolf to show you the Ultra autocannons. The LB stands for Limbum Ballistics, and that's an actual ballistics manufacturer in the game. And I'm probably hacking the pronunciation as well. But a lot of people are, well, what's it stand for? It's the manufacturer is what it stands for. So, and then we'll come out to this direwolf, and he has the Ultra series of autocannon. And we'll go out to the testing grounds again, and Forest Colony, so we can pick on that commando some more. And then, well, how the Ultra autocannons work is they work just like the standard Clan AC, so you'll get a burst of multiple shells, the exact same number, 2 for an AC2, up to 5 for an AC20. But what'll happen is if you're in that state where you have the red bar that indicates you're reloading, you can shoot them again. And the drawback for that is that you may jam the weapon. So what I'll do is I'll shoot the Ultra autocannons. You'll see they behave just like the regular ones. So here's the AC2. 2 shells for 2 points of damage. The AC5. 3 shells for 5 points of damage. AC10. 4 shells for 10 points of damage. And then finally the AC20. That'll be 5 shells for 20 damage. So that's how those work. And what I'll do is I'm going to get on the other arm here. And I have my Ultra AC10 set up on weapon group 2. Now watch as I fire it. I'm going to fire it in Ultra mode. What I'll do is I'll shoot it, get that red bar to indicate it's reloading. I'll be able to shoot it again. So here we go. Red bar. So I can shoot it again. It's not reloaded. Oh, and there's the flaw of the weapon. Sometimes it jams. It's random. And unfortunately on that particular one, it happened on the first shot. So keep that in mind. You lose your gun for a little bit. It jams and you can't shoot it while it jams. So we'll try it again and see if I can show you the mechanic of it actually firing while it's reloading. And I jammed it again. Oh, this is being uncooperative. Alright, cleared the jam. Let's shoot it again. There we go. We've got 8 shells out while it was reloading. Let's do that again. Didn't jam that time either. And now I've jammed it. So that's how that mechanic works with the jamming. A lot of people like those Ultra autocannons. You can see I did a whole lot of damage to them while I was able to fire in Ultra mode. I don't care for them specifically because of that jam mechanic. I would rather have to wait to fire again than have my weapon taken away from me completely and wait for it not only to reload but to unjam. So we'll see how much damage I can do to this cicada while simulating moving around him and stuff. Jammed. Oh no, I'm out of ammo. So let's switch to another one. We get all our autocannons going here. So as you can see, that was quite a bit faster than killing him with standard autocannons in that previous test, and we'll pick on that catapult too. Those extra shells can do more damage and make that time to kill a little bit faster, but you have to keep in mind that jam mechanic's there and you may lose your guns, and nothing worse than looking at an enemy mech when you can't shoot. So we'll get up on him and we'll show you an example of that time to kill being a little bit lower when you're spraying that much lead. So I was able to kill him a little bit faster than before, but as you saw, my Ultra Autocannon 2 jammed on me a couple times, so I did want to talk about that jam mechanic. I find it very disheartening when my guns jam when I'm in the middle of a fight. So keep that in mind when you're using those. If you do like the if you do like the autocannon weapons, I would recommend. I would personally recommend going with the LB because they tend to get a little bit better front-loaded damage than the other autocannons. But keep in mind and weigh the advantages and disadvantages of the regular autocannons, the ultra autocannons with that jam functionality. So this has been a look at these Clan ballistic weapons. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you liked it, please subscribe to my channel. I've got several other weapons tests and tutorials to help out our new players. I hope to see you on the battlefield, and good luck.